Hey guys, back at it with another roulette strategy to put against a survival test. This test was created in a longer format to highlight the potential pros and cons of a strategy, weeding out the good ones from the bad ones. Then as a community, we modify and refine the good ones to make them even better. If it survives that process, we can then program it into the new Viper Strategies software on my other channel. Link to the channel will be in the description below if that's something that interests you. On this test, every strategy will get a fair shake at 90 spins. That equates to about an hour and a half of live playing time in the casino. So there will not be a time limit. We are going to play out all 90 spins or until the system fails. All results are unedited. All videos are posted, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Every system will receive a grade on performance that's posted at the end of each video. And if you are new to the channel and want to join us on the quest to finding the best, subscribe now and hit that notification bell to stay up to date, because it won't hurt you none, but it might help you some. Hey guys, so today's video we have a custom strategy. This is called Corner Blitz. It's running 2 corners within last two hit dozens. So I do want to give a quick overview before we jump into this video, just to explain the logic behind this. So I ran some real data sets in AI just to find uncommon and common patterns, so I could leverage that to benefit me, right? So I found that, and the reason why I like to follow the last 2 to hit, because they streak very often. Okay, so I got 1,000 spins, ran into this is real spin data that I ran into AI, and I asked it basically to find all these patterns, the common, the uncommon pattern. But basically what I was looking for is how many times does the longest to hit in a row. And out of those 1,000 spins I uploaded, one time it hit 6 straight longest to hit, which means today's video we're going to follow the last 2 to hit. So that only happened once in those 1,000 spins. I'm not saying it will never happen more than that, but I'm just going off of that data. So from there I built a custom progression which is 8 levels long. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into today's video, and I'll explain as we go with the new system, and let's just see how it goes. Like I said, that's why we test before we invest. So let's jump into today's video, and we are using dollar units, and we're going to start with 2 corners. So let's look over to the board to the left. We got 29 black, so I want to cover that 29 just to cover a repeater, and I'm going to put a $2 bet, 1 unit on 2 corners. All right, this is spin number 1, and the total bankroll for this is $318. And we are using a negative progression today. Okay, we started off with the miss. So what I'm going to do is level 2. I'm going to simply keep my bet right here. I'm going to cover that last 2 hit. So now we got 4 corners at $1 a piece, right? And then we're covering the last 2 to hit. So the dozens, 19, that's the second dozen hit, and the 29 is in the third dozen. So we spin again. This is spin number 2. And we got a $5 hit. Let's go down, check our stats. We are in a new session profit. So we're going back to our base level bet, 2 corners. So obviously early hits are going to pay out the best. But I did create this where every hit will reset you into a new session profit. So we got a hit right there. Let's check our stats. We are up $10. So we're simply going to keep our bet right here. Riding, this one's benefiting the streaks. Like I said, with the AI, it just seems like the last 2 hit more often than a new longest to hit consecutively. So let's go ahead and rebet and spin. We're still at base level, and new session profits at $10. All right, we missed that one, so we're gonna go ahead and add in what hit last, the 21. We're gonna make sure we cover that. We're putting 4 corners in, $1 a piece. This is level 2. Oh man, sorry guys, I screwed that up. Let's go back in there, and I accidentally hit that button. So it's going to reset everything, but I do have a high right here of $10. So let's go ahead and just replace that bet. Right here, we're covering. Actually, let's just start from scratch. Sorry about that. Well, I'll just continue the spin count. So we were at a high of 10 bucks. All right, we missed that one. So when I miss like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cover that as a repeater. Go here and here. And then we're going to go ahead and add the last to hit, which is going to be this dozen. Because this is level 2, I still want to put those 4 corners for coverage. All right, that's a 35 black. Okay, we got a hit right there. So that's we got 3 bucks. So technically we are up 13 is the high. So I'm going to keep that 10. Jot it to the side. We're up at 13. And then let me go. So now we could go back to our base level bet. So we're going to go ahead and cover. Let me make sure I place the bets right. We're going to cover that and that. Okay. 13 is our high. All right, we missed that one. So we're simply going to hold our bets right there. And we're going to add. So we haven't gone past the second level yet. So we got 4 corner bet placed down. And we got a 28 black. That's a hit. All right, 6. So technically 16 is the new session high. So I'm going to go ahead and reset back to base. And I'm going to go cover 2 corners on the last to hit dozen. All right, we got a $7 hit. That's going to be a new session high. I know it's showing 13, but I fat fingered it and I went out of the app. So we're just going to add 10 to that. So it's technically a 23 is the new session profit. But we're still at our base level bet. So let's keep the bet the same. This is spin number 10. All right, we missed that one. So we're going to simply add in our next corners. Spin again. And this is 8 levels to this progression. Okay, so the longest to hit just hit. So when that happens, we're going to level 3. Level 3 is going to be $2 each corner. Cover the last to hit. And the last dozen to hit, we're going to place in here as well. $2 each. So now we have a total bet of $8. We are at level 3. Let's see what we get here. All right, longest to hit again. That's 2 in a row. So now we're going to put 3 units, 2 corners on this one, and then we're going to see last to hit. We're going to go ahead and cover that as well. 3 units on 2 corners. And we spin. We're at level 4. Any win at any level resets us. Longest to hit again happened. So that's 3 in a row. So now we go and put 6 units on the last 2 dozens, or on 4 corners in the last 2 dozens. So we're at level 5 now. And we got another miss. So from 6, we're going to bump it up to 11. So now we're going to have a total bet of 44 bucks. Definitely need to get a win soon. We got a couple more levels to go. All right, longest miss again. So we're going to go and we're going to add, where are we at? Last to hit was 28. We're going in at 20. All right, total bet's 80 bucks. Down minus 81 right now. And and finally got a hit. So that's $100 hit. We're back up into a new session profit. Remember that 19 is actually 29. So 29 is the new session high. Now we go back to base level bet. So let's get our dollars out, and then we're going last to hit. Boom, boom. If I could place it right here. Back to base level. This is spin 20. We got a miss right there, so we're going to simply rebet. We're going to go ahead and add 2 more corners in on that first dozen. All right, we missed there, so we're going to go and add in 2 here, 2 there, also covering this dozen, following the last 2 dozens that hit. All right, we got a $10 hit right there. We are in a new session profit. That's going to be 33. Let me go ahead and jot that down. Now we go back to our base level, and let's see if we could get a couple early wins. That'll be nice. And we just missed that. So we're going to go ahead and just switch our bets up here, but we are going to add the last hit dozen as well. So we're at level 2. And we got a miss there, so we're going to level 3, which is 2 units on 4 corners in the last 2 dozens to hit. And then we're going to go right here. All right, $8 total bet. Spin 25. Our session high is 33. All right, 19 hit. So now we go 3 units. Still following the same pattern. $12 total bet. This is level 4. And we got a hit right there. And like I said, any hit resets you into a new session profit. Now we're up to $34 in profit. So we are going back to our base level bet, which is 2 corners and 1 dozen. All right, level 2, we're going to go ahead and add in 2 more corners. All right, when you get a 0, just hold your bet on the same, because those were still the last 2 dozens to hit. But from $1 bet, we're going to bump it up to $2 each. All right, we got a win right there, so we're going back to our base level bet. Staying in the last to hit dozen, $1 on 2 corners. This is spin number 30, and new session high is $38. All right. I even thought about starting on just in 2 dozens, but those first early hits at base level make a pretty good profit. So let's go ahead and spin again. We're at level 2. Spin 31. Keeping in mind our session high was $38. And we got a 31 black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that. I'm going to switch the bets up around a little bit. Cover repeaters. And now we go to $2 each corner. Level 3. Total bet's $8. Let's see what we get here. And we got the hit. So definitely go back to base and reset. New session high is $42. All right, we missed there, so we're going to rebet, keep our bets right there, and then we're going to slide in 2 more corners in the last to hit dozen. There's another miss, so we're going to go ahead and go up 2 units each of the corners and shift our bets. All right, total bet is $8. We're at level 3. Spin 35. All right, we got a hit right there, so simply go back to our base level bet. New session high is at $46. All right, we're going to rebet. We're going to punch in 2 more corners on the last 2 hit dozen. I've got a miss right there, so we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then let's cover that 31. And we are at level 3 again. Let's spin again. Let's get a hit right here. And that's a miss, so we're going to just shift the bet to cover that repeater. We're going to $3 now. All right, $12 total bet. We're at level 4. Zero came up, so we're going to simply hold our bet right here, but we're going to increase from 3 units to 6 units, so it's easier just to double the bet. And this is spin 40. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to have to shift our bets. Now we're going 11 units on 2 corners and the last 2 to hit. Let's go ahead and cover these, and let's go ahead and add another chip on each. Remember, any hit resets you. And we missed that one, so we are going to a $20 bet on each of the corners. And let's go here and there. Okay, $80 total bet. We are at what level? We're at level 7. All right, we got a $100 win right there. That put us into a new session profit of $52. So definitely going back to our base level bet. Let's go back to $1 chips. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to go ahead and cover 2 more corners in that last 2 hit dozen. And we missed the 9. So we're going 2 units. And then we're covering 2 units over here. $8 total bet. Let's see what we get here. We are at the halfway point of 45 spins. And we got the hit right there. So we go back to our base level bet. Spin again. New session high is at $56. All right, we missed that one. We're just going to shift our bet to cover that repeater. And then we're going to add in the last 2 more corners in the last hit dozen. Spin again. We're at level 2. All right, we got another hit right there, so simply go back to our base level bet. New session high is at 59. Finally got an early hit. Nice. New session high is going to be at 66. Let's hold our bet here. And we get a 36 red. Nice back-to-back early hits. Stay at base level bet. New high is $73. And this is what I'm talking about. Streaks. We're capitalizing off streaks. We got another hit right there. New session high is at $80. All right, got a loss right there. We're going to hold our bet on the third dozen, and we're going to go ahead and add in 2 corners on the first dozen. And we got the hit, so back to base we go. New session high is at 83. All right, missed that one, so we're going to go ahead and plug in our corners in the third dozen. This is spin number 50. And we got another 0, so we're going to hold our bet here. We're going to go ahead and double up. And look at that, another hit. Back to base we go. New session high is at 87. And we missed that one, so we're going to shuffle to cover that repeater. And we're going to add in the last to hit dozen, since this is level 2. And looking back, 5 was the last to hit, so we're going to cover that. And we just missed that, so I'm going to go ahead and cover that repeater. And then also over here, and we're going to double up. $8 total bet. We're at level 3. All right, so we're going to hold our bets over here. We're going up to 3 on each corner. And then last to hit dozen was the second dozen. So we're going to go ahead and add in 3 on 2 corners there. And we spin. We're at level 4. Spin 55. And we get a 13 black. That's a win. So we simply reset because this is built to reset at any hit with a new session profit. So a new session profit's at $88. 34 red comes up. We're going to hold our bet on that second dozen and add in 2 corners in the third dozen. We got a hit right there with a 26 black, so we're going back to base again. New session high is at 91. We missed that one, so we're going to hold that bet over there on the third dozen, and we're going to add 2 corners in the second dozen. All right, we got another hit right there, so that means we are in a new session profit, so we go back to our base level bet. New high is at $94. All right, we missed there, so let's go ahead and add in the first dozen, covering that 10. $4 total bet, level 2. And this is spin 60. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to go up 2 units. And then we're going to cover this area. Remember, last 2 dozens to hit. Trusting AI is giving us some true information. All right, that's at 18 red, so we're going to have to cover it with 3 units on 2 corners. And then last to hit was a third dozen. Total bet is $12. We are at level 4. And 0 comes up, so we're going to hold our bet here, but we're going to go to, actually we're going to 6 units. So just double here. We're at level 5. All right, we got a hit right there, so back to base we go. New session high is at 98, so we almost got $100 in profit. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to hold our bet on the third dozen. We're going to cover that 4 to hit, add in 2 more corners on the first dozen. Spin 65. And we got the hit. So back to base we go again. New session high is 101. So we just passed $100 in profit. We got a miss right there. We're going to hold our bet on first dozen. Make sure we cover that 7 just in case of a repeater. We're at level 2. And a lot of zeros coming in. We're going to hold our bet here, double up, 2 units on each of the corners, covering 2 dozens. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to go ahead and keep our bets here. And we're going to $3 on 4 corners in 2 dozens. All right, let's see what we get here. And we got it. So back to base we go. Spin again. So 102 is the new session high. This was spin number 70. Got another hit right there. Simply hold our bet here and spin again. New session high is at 109. Let's go ahead and add in some corners over here. All right, another hit. So every hit we go back to base. New session is at 112. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to add in 2 more corners and another dozen at $1 a piece. And we got another hit, so back to base we go. New session high is at $115. Just riding the streaks. All right, we missed that one here. Let's go ahead and cover that 27. Second level bet in the progression. And we got a 9 red. That's a hit, so we go back to base. New session high is at 118. Got another early hit. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and keep it here. New session high is at 125. Just missed that one. Let's go ahead and shuffle our bet a little bit. And then last to hit was 27. So we're going to cover this area. This is level 2 of the progression. Missed that one as well. So we're going to add in these corners. And that's 2 units on 4 corners. All right, so we're going to hold right here. We're going to go ahead and go 3 units, 2 corners, and then add in the 4 corners here. We're at 3 units each of the corners. This is spin number 80, almost done with the test. We have 10 more to go after this, and let's see what we get here. And look at that. That's why I like to cover those repeaters. Back-to-back 3s, that's a new session high. We go back to base. And new session high is at 126. All right, we missed that one, so we're going to rebet. Add in 2 corners on the 3rd dozen and spin. Nice. So we go back to our base level bet. Let's make sure we cover that 32. And we got a 16 red, so let's hold our bet on the 3rd dozen, punch in 2 more corners. And we missed that one, so I'm going to shuffle these bets around a little bit. And now we're going 2 units on 4 corners. This is spin 85. We got 5 more to go after this spin. That's a 7, so we are going to put 3. And then we're going to cover 3 here, 3 here. $12 total bet. Spin 86. And we got it. That's going to reset us back to our base level bet with a new session high. New session high is 130. All right, we missed that one. So we're going to go ahead and punch in 2 more corners. After this, we got a couple more spins. We'll wrap up the test. And we got it. So back to base we go yet again. New session profits at 133. All right, we got 1 more spin to go. Let's see if we can end on a win. Let's go ahead and punch in 2 more corners. This is level 2. Spin number 90, so it did survive the test. And we ended on a loss. That's okay, though. So just reviewing this, we did peak out at a total of 133 was our session high. I have written down, I'm going to have to go back, but I have written down we went minus 81. Really didn't stress the bankroll. We did get a little high in the progression. We got up to 7, but no higher than that. This is a 8-level progression. I wanted to build more, but I was just going based off what the AI gave me. And considering what it gave me, I know this is not real spin data, but you can see the last 2 to hit did streak, right? So versus playing longest to hit, I know some people like to play hot numbers, hot areas, hot or cold areas, but I prefer, just my brain just it works that way. I just think that streaks happen more often, and I like to capitalize off streaks. So with that being said, we did play a negative progression on this. I'm considering maybe doing a run back and playing this with a positive progression, because then, you know, if for some of you guys that don't know positive progression, all it means is you're just going to hold your bet if you lose, and if you win, that's when you increase your bet, therefore capitalizing on streaks. Also should, in theory, work better with this because we are aiming to capitalize off those streaks. You know what I'm saying? And it's great because the reason I made a custom progression is I don't like I like to reset off any hit. Now, I've made really, really long custom progressions in the past, but those are typically on street bets, corner bets, or single dozens or single columns. So I thought this was pretty interesting. It ran pretty good today. It is kind of a grinded out style, but you can see it did pan out well. But like always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is there any tweaks or adjustments or modifications that you guys have that you think you can make this better? Or if you like it or if you don't like it, just let me know. And with that being said, like always, till next time, be cool, stay cool, peace.